Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel.
We are gonna do a bit of come chat with us, and we're doing a bit of a series.
Yeah.
Today's is friendship.
Yeah, we've got a full series throughout February. We thought it would be a fun way to kind of address some issues, get to know us a little bit more.
Yeah, we
us
really
get to know
like
you.
giving advice as well, don't we?
So we have a 4-part series. Today is friendship. We're not going to tell you any of the others because we want it to be a surprise, and
you need
we want
to
you
tune
to
in
engage
every
with
Sunday.
us. But today we're going to answer your questions and dilemmas that we put to you on Instagram. We asked for your questions. We've had quite a few. Some of them were the same, so we're just going to kind of categorize them and put them all into one. So we've got some quite good ones, and I'm quite excited to mention them and have a little chat.
Okay, I'm going to start with a bit of a bombshell one.
Okay.
So how do you tell someone the lad that they are dating is an F-boy?
Oh, okay.
Pure dropping the bomb with that one, because
okay, I feel like
you have to be careful.
If you don't have any evidence, you need to be so careful, because you could hear it from somebody and it might actually not be true. You need to be so careful that you're not just following what someone else has said. If you have evidence and you are 1000% sure that this guy that your friend is dating is an actual boy, then tell her. Like, you have got nothing to lose. She's your best friend. If she loves you, then she will completely understand.
I think it's how you approach this one, because if you don't have a boyfriend yourself, you can look jealous.
Yeah.
And I think as well, you need to approach it as in not straight out call him out. I think you need to say, maybe, I'm not really sure about him. Like, if you heard about him
kind
from
of
other
just
people,
like make the alarm bells ring and be like, you know, if you've seen him do things on a night out when you're with your friend, maybe just say like, are you okay with him acting like that? Like, kind of not make her question her relationship, because that's not what you want to do, but kind of make her aware of the situation that is happening.
I think as well, if it's to do with past, I think obviously people can change. Some say leopards don't change its spots. Like, I get where people come from with that, but I think, you know, maybe just say to her, oh, like, you know, I'm glad you're happy, but I've heard that he's not a very nice guy. Like, if you heard anything like that. But at the end of the day, I think you do have to sit there and let them have that experience, you know. You'll want to say to them, I told you so, like, you know, we knew this was going to happen, but I think you do actually need them to learn that lesson. If it's getting ridiculous though, and they're being really naive, I think at that point, if you've already told them a little bit, or you've already tried to ring a little bit of the alarm bells, I think you just need to straight out say it.
Yeah, just be honest.
Yeah, I think as well, you need to say, because it's becoming like from an outside perspective, you need to stress that, because you've got to remember they're in that situation. There's only 2 of them, and you know, you can say it a couple of times, but I wouldn't drown on about it. I wouldn't really like come to the subject more than 3 times.
Once you've mentioned it, you've done your bit. And like Emily said, sometimes people have to learn from the mistakes that they make, and all you can do ultimately is just pick the pieces up if things do go to shit.
Yeah, I think, you know, say your opinion, say how you feel, and then just carry on with your friendship, because at the end of the day, you don't want that individual ruining your friendship that you've grown over how many years.
So one of the questions which came up quite a lot on mine was, what do you do when you're put in a situation where your friend doesn't want to spend time with you anymore because they have a boyfriend, and they're always doing things with their partner and they're always brushing you off?
I think this is really hard. Like, I had some as well, you know, that their friends keep cancelling on them, and I think it's the whole cancellation culture. Like, it literally is like a thing.
Yeah, I think this is such a hard one, because I think at some point in your life, the person asking this question, you will have done exactly the same to your friend without you actually realising. I think when a relationship is very, very new, you want to spend time with the person you're dating. It's only natural. But then at the same time, you have to remember that your friends were there way before any guy.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, I might be naive, but I feel like this is something that was really in the back of my head when I started a relationship, because we had a close friend who constantly, everything we suggested, he had to come along. He was like added to the plan.
Yeah.
And I think we didn't know how to kind of approach that with being actually no, just as like we'd always be like girls night,
and it would always be the
girls night, can the guy
so and so come, and you feel bad because in a way you want your friend to be happy, but ultimately your friendship is with her, not with him.
Yeah. And I think as well, if you do have the chance to go maybe on group things and he has to be there, that's obviously a bit better than not seeing your friend at all.
Yeah.
But I think you do need to just say like, oh, look, like, I know you're really busy, but when do you have time to spend? Like,
even if it's just like half an hour, one of you's drive, go to McDonald's and sit in the car park and literally just have a chat. You know, you need time away from your partner.
Definitely.
Being in each other's pockets isn't going to be good for you. So if you honestly feel like your friend is putting her boyfriend before you, then tell her. If you were a true friend to her and she honestly cared about you, if you told her that, she may not realise that she's actually doing it. She might think, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I'm actually doing that. Or if she's not a friend, she won't give a shit.
Yeah, I think as well, like, things like that can really tumble, and I think once you start doing it, like, it's kind of hard to stop because it's kind of your norm now. And obviously, say we were seeing each other every weekend and in the weekday or whatever, and I think once we started doing less of that, I'd be a bit like, oh, where's Sophie? Like, why? What's happening? And I think that's probably what could happen to your friend and how she feels with her boyfriend. But I also think, like, as Sophie said, something so little, you need to say, like, look, can we go for coffee? Like, or look, why do you keep cancelling on me? Just say, I know you're busy, I'm busy too, but why are you cancelling? Can we not even just have half an hour together to have a chat?
That ultimately will then just prove if that friendship is worth it. Every single friend should make an effort at least once. Everyone has circumstances, everyone has personal circumstances or things that come up that can't be helped. But if you're truthful and honest with your friends and say, look, I know we had something planned, but shit, I actually have to cancel because something's come up, your friend will go, right, okay, she's explained to me, she's not lied, she's told me the truth. I can't be mad at her. But when it's repetitive and it's constantly happening and you know that it's because of the boyfriend, then you have a right to just say, look, like, if you're brushing me off because of him, then should we even be friends? Do you want me as a friend?
I'd literally be like, if they keep cancelling and there's no explanation, I'd literally be like, do you want to, I'd do the last straw. I'd just literally be like, do you want to go out for half an hour? Like, only half an hour. Let's go for a chat. Let's go for hot chocolate or go for coffee, And if they're like, no, then let it go. Like, people like that aren't worth the energy. And I think if you're meant to be friends, you'll come and drift back together.
And you've got to remember as well, when that relationship ends, if it does, 9 times out of 10 it might not, but you've got to remember they're going to need you before you want them. So you removing yourself from that situation will then maybe prove to them, like, I actually did value that person in my life. And I think it is so important to understand that, like, friendships are so important for both your mental health and, like, you have fun with your friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have a partner for your lifelong, like, commitments, but your friendship, you're never ever going to get those memories back.
No, and I think it is getting the balance. And I think, maybe your friend doesn't realise that, or maybe it's just that they are in a bit of a bubble at the moment. But I just literally say, like, how come you're cancelling on me all the time? Like, is something happening? What's going on? And I think the more straight you are to the point without coming across really hostile, I think it will work.
It will work. Of course it will.
Okay, so I've got I'm in a group of 5 friends and a lot of the time I feel left out. How do I get involved more in the group so I don't feel like this? Now, I think a group of friends, obviously, sometimes they're too big.
There's always going to be one person in that friendship that has an overpowering personality.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be one person in that group who is either scared of that person or hasn't got the confidence to kind of say, I'm not happy with the way things are, you know, the way plans are being arranged, or, you know, why has it always got to revolve around you or
Be on their terms,
be on your terms? Like,
yeah.
You've got to remember, when there's 5 people or more or less in a friendship, like, everyone's opinions matter.
I think a friendship more than 2 people, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I remember a lot of the time I had friendships of 3, and I don't know why, but that has been like the ongoing thing that I used to have, always like 2 really close friends, and it used to be like a trio. Obviously, a lot of things that you do, it could even be like you're going on, I don't know, a roller coaster, whatever.
Yeah,
it's
always
2
one
people
that's left out.
Yeah. And I think it is hard to balance, and a lot of people don't manage it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, being left out, like, you can feel like that, but it actually might not be a thing.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can overthink it.
And think that you are being left out. You know, I think if there is more than maybe 2 in a friendship, suggest things. You know, the worst that can be said is that they're not gonna like what you said, but at least you said how you're feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and if you realise that it is all done on that person's terms, like, you can remove yourself from that friendship. You know, doesn't mean you have to fall out with the other people involved in that friendship. 9 times out of 10, if there is a, you know, a more of a boss in a friendship, then everyone will fall out with you. When we were in school, we had a very big friendship group, and it was usually the situation where if one person was excluded from the group, then every single person would fall out with that person. And looking back now, it was such a horrible way for us to deal with things.
Yeah.
Because we would always be following one person, or someone would always be following someone else, and you would then be left feeling that if you don't follow what they're doing, then you're not their friends. But they've got to remember that you have your own opinions and your own thoughts. You can be friends with whoever you want to be friends with.
I think it's quite deflating as well when you feel like that. Like, no matter how old you are, you can feel left out. And I just think, like, there's got to be, you know, you're saying it's a group of 5 friends, like, there's got to be someone in that friendship group that you feel like you get on with most. Maybe concentrate on that relationship more. Like,
definitely.
you don't have to go out, the 5 of you can do things separate, and, you know, just invite one person round or go and do something with that one person. But, like, I really wouldn't let it put you off.
No, because I think as well, even I felt like that when the 2, you know,
I felt,
we've been in situations together. We've got another friend who, out of everyone in school, we're only close friends with another girl who we absolutely adore. And there's times where the 3 of us can't do things together because things come up, and in the back of your mind you think, oh, I'm missing out, I'm so gutted. But then you think, like, they're not doing it to spite you. They're doing it because they still have a friendship. Just because there's 3 of you doesn't mean that your friendship is the same. Like, you have individual friendships with every single person.
I think that's, like, the main thing to remember, like, that you have friendships with all of them. Like, and you could feel left out because of the closeness between 2, but they could feel left out because of the closeness between you and someone else. And I think as well, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Like, you don't, if you feel left out like that, you might not fit in like the best you can in that group, but it doesn't mean that later on in time you might meet someone or meet another group of friends and you'll click with them so much more. And I know that's happened to me, where I've literally thought, why have I bothered with that, and why am I
still in this friendship?
And I'm just like, hang on, I feel left out, but they're kind of making me feel left out, so
there's a
maybe
difference
I'll
between,
just jump.
I think there is a difference between making somebody feel left out and somebody thinking that they feel left out.
Definitely, yeah.
Which I think is a very big thing.
So I'd literally just go with the flow. I just be friends with everyone in the group, and you know, you will find someone who you have a tighter friendship with. And I just wouldn't feel like you can feel left out, because there's always someone else that you're gonna have a better friendship with. And
definitely
it just works better, doesn't it?
So one of the questions that I also got was, how do you make plans when you all have different schedules?
We even find this hard now. Like, I have friends who I've not seen for months, or some who I've not seen for weeks. And it's just the matter of making time. I think if you are good friends, that you will make time. And you know, it might be quite like a time frame in between each time you do see each other, but at the end of the day, if it's a good enough friendship, it will flow.
I was just gonna say, some friendships you have where maybe you only see each other once a month, but when you meet again, it feels like you've not been away. And then there's other friendships where maybe if you haven't seen them for 2 weeks, it feels like it's strained, because you've got kind of the pressure to see someone. I think if you're busy, then there's nothing you can really do apart from make the effort and just say, look, I'm free this day and free this day. If you're not free, then maybe in a couple of weeks we'll try and rearrange again. As long as your friends know that you're putting in the effort, like you do care about them, you know, as you get older, this is going to happen. We're not in high school anymore. People have real lives. People have, you know, jobs, different families, routines, you know, things that need to be done. And you can't see your friends all the time. If you're lucky enough to be in a situation where you can see all your friends all the time, then that's great. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to be left in a situation where you think like, God, I've not seen my friends for like 6 weeks. They're going to think I'm a bad person. They're not. If you've got really good friendships, then they're probably in exactly the same situation as you are.
I think a lot of the time we try and schedule as well, like months in advance. It sounds stupid, but like, say we did for March now, like we know we haven't got any other plans and it's written down. And then it's easier, even if you have to like move it or whatever, it's a bit easier because you know like when each of are going to free. And I think it's really good to pinpoint days down. Like, I know people don't like to be tied down to, you know, plans that are quite far away, but I think it's a good way. You do, otherwise, you know, you've got to think, how
because
much
you say
do you
you're not planning
person?
for like 8 weeks, but you blink and that 8 weeks you think, gosh, I was going to do something this weekend, and it's too late.
I think if that friendship means a lot to you, like, you will schedule quite in advance, and you'll always make time for each other. So I think at the end of the day, if you want to see each other, you will.
Yeah, definitely. The next question is how to make plans with your friends when you've all got different schedules.
Yeah, I know we do plan months in advance.
Yeah, I think sometimes it can't be helped. Like, you have a life, you know, certain things crop up. As long as you're making the effort with your friends to actually try and see them at least maybe once a month, you know, if you have a good enough friendship, like, you don't have to see your friend all of the time for it to be like amazing. Like, as long as you know that they're at the end of the phone, if you need to pick up that phone, then sometimes that's all you need.
I think as well, like, scheduling with people, it gets harder as you get older as well. And like, obviously there's other ways to speak to each other. You could even Skype or FaceTime these days. But like, even just saying like, oh, in a couple of weeks time we'll go and meet, and maybe, you know, sometimes we'll say to each other, actually, like, oh yeah, I'd love to meet up, but I've got to be back, so I hope you don't mind, like, I can only be an hour or whatever. And I just think there's always, like, you could even just sit there, have a chat, go around each other's houses for a cup of tea. Like,
don't make the fact that you have other plans an excuse not to do something with your friends.
I think if people want to see you, like, they'll make the effort, and if it does mean like that they've got to come to your house, you've got to go to their house, I think that's fine. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean as well you actually have to actually do something, because I think people get hung up on having to say, I don't know, go to the cinema, go bowling, I don't know, like, you've got to do like an event, and you don't have
to do something every time you see them.
Definitely not.
Sometimes you just need a chat and a hug with your best friend, and you know, even if it's just 5 minutes on the way home from work, you drop in. Or, you know, you drop them flowers, take them a coffee. Something small, a tiny little gesture will mean so much more to them than you cancelling on them altogether and not actually bothering to make plans with them at all.
Yeah, I feel like there's plenty of times where me and Sophie could have easily just like sat in the car for an hour together. Like, I don't know.
Sometimes you just need that.
Yeah.
Don't you?
And I think sometimes being out in public, like obviously you can't always speak about everything. So.
Yeah, and like don't consider, like someone say we should make plans as like we need to go out, we need to do this. By making plans you just mean like you're arranging to see someone.
Yeah,
for a
it doesn't
coffee.
have to be massive.
No, just something small. The smallest things always mount up.
Because I think like I always used to think like, oh yeah, that means we need to do something, like that means we'll be spending money, like that means it's going to be really time consuming. And I think
we could just sit there and just have a chat, or sometimes you don't even need to speak. You can just sit there for 10 minutes and feel completely comfortable with the person that you're with. Shove Netflix on in the background, have a cup of coffee, and you've spent time with that person.
Yeah, I just think when you're scheduling with people, like obviously you can do it in advance and stuff like that, but as well, you know, half an hour out of someone's day, like if they actually want to see you, they'll make time.
And you never know, that person might not actually have plans. They could have plans and someone's already cancelled on them, and they might be thinking, oh, I can't make plans with that person because it's last minute. Just ask them. The worst thing they can say is, sorry, I can't. Okay, that's fine.
Like sometimes, I'll like text you and I'll be like, oh, in half an hour I'm doing this, but I don't know if you can come because obviously it's short notice, but
and then you think, oh yeah, actually I can come, I'm not actually busy. Or, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm popping for a coffee, do you want to come? And you think it's 10 minutes.
And then other times, you know, you do have to schedule in weeks' time. And I think, you know, if it is a couple of months' time, I don't think that really matters, because at the end of the day, you're going to see each other. And, you know, I think making time for people is really important.
Yeah, most definitely.
If you want a friendship, that's what you've got to do. Okay. My question was, I struggle to make friends and I've recently started uni. I commute there currently. I want to talk to people on my course and make more friends.
Okay. So I feel like our opinion on this will be very different, because Emily stayed in halls and I commuted. So I just think, don't put pressure on yourself to make friends. I went into uni with the complete mindset that I was there to learn. So I learned a lot about friendship in university. There were some people that made my experience a living hell, where I wanted to completely quit and thought I cannot be around people like this. And then in the last year I met someone who I thought, how have we been on the course for 4 years together and we've never spoke? Like, I wish I had you in my life in first year when I was like panicking over something completely ridiculous. We've never ever spent time together outside uni, but I know that that is a friendship that if I need her, she's just at the end of the phone.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the less pressure that you have on yourself to make friendships, the more they happen.
Yeah.
Because they're not forced and they're not rushed.
I think with uni, the main year you make friends is the last. And it sounds stupid, but obviously, you know, by then you've got quite a bit of in common because you've been doing the same course for like 2 years, and it can kind of be like, oh, do you remember this? Did you do this? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I just think as well, it gives you a chance to speak to people. There's obviously seminars, there's group projects you might have to do, and I just think put yourself out there, speak to everyone you can, and you will get a vibe off some people. Like, you'll know straight away if they want to make a friendship, if they want to make an effort. And obviously, you know, you have stuff that are out of uni.
Yeah, social activities that you can get involved in.
Yeah.
Like, most unis encourage people to get involved in, you know, extra non-curriculum activities.
Yeah, there's
like
so many
netball,
socials.
there's after, like, even if you go for a drink on a Friday night, there's so much to do.
Yeah.
But if you're the type of person that would just prefer to go and sit in the library and do some work, then do it. Don't feel that pressure that because you've gone to uni, like, you need to make friends. Like, you don't need to do anything.
No.
If you want to make friends, then like just maybe push yourself out your comfort zone a little bit. You commute, but maybe you think, I don't know, I want to go out one Friday night. Maybe try and arrange some transport to get you home, and
so you can join in.
Yeah, just do something that maybe you wouldn't normally do.
I think my main advice for this whole situation would be say yes to everything. I think it's so hard for some people to enter situations where obviously they don't know people. The more you say yes to invites to places, the more you talk to.
Well,
yeah, definitely. But at the same time, obviously don't push that, because I've had experiences where I've met people on a whim, like we've been in the same spot, same time,
and it just happens.
we've just like been friends ever since. And I just think, you know, if you're meant to be friends with someone, it will happen. And I think you don't always need to push that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think if your sole purpose is just to make friends, then maybe you shouldn't be at uni. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're wanting to be friends with people just to make things easier, then just like open yourself up a tiny little bit more. Smile at someone that you wouldn't normally smile at. You know, 9 times out of 10, someone else is probably feeling exactly the same way that you are. They're probably feeling a little bit nervous if they've come to uni on their own and they've got no friends. They're probably feeling exactly the same as you, that little anxiousness. But sometimes if you just say hello, like, that's all you need, and you could have like amazing friendships for life.
I think as well, helping people, that's really
good. If you
see
someone struggling as
well, if you're in the library, like, and someone's there and they're by themselves,
having a breakdown,
you know, go and speak to them. Like, I don't know, you know, you could be sat next to someone who's on a computer.
There's so much you can do in uni. Just because you do one course doesn't mean you have to be friends with them people that do the course. If you're in halls, I think it would probably be easier to make friends.
Yeah.
But just because you commute doesn't mean that you can't have the advantages that other people have.
But then, like, saying that, like, when I was in halls, I had more friends in my halls than on my course, and that was because no one from my course actually lived in our block. But like that, just over the years, with the course going on, I obviously made more friends, because the more you interact with people, because
they know someone and they know someone,
or it's like, oh, hang on, are you're doing this too, I'm really struggling, like, how have you got this, and stuff like that. Just you know, strike a conversation. You're both on the same course, you've got to have something in common.
I think so.
So
I think we're going to stop there, because there were quite a few questions and we could literally sit and ramble all day. We hope we've given you some good advice or some tips on the questions that we've answered. If you do have any more questions that we haven't answered, then drop them in the comments below. We're always replying back to messages. Follow us on Instagram. We can chat more over there.
Yeah, we could even do any part 2s, or if you want to have any more Q&As, let us know. But obviously this is going to be a series, so next week there'll be another one.
So make sure you tune into next week's, and if you do have any questions, check our Instagram throughout the week, and we will be popping stickers up in relation to the topics that we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks.
See you later.
Bye.